Hello, and welcome to part two of programming your microbit with Python. So, in the last lesson, what you were supposed to do was really learn how to use the buttons in order to control something. Now, we're going to kind of move a little different direction and start bringing in animation and causing different things to happen based off what you have turned on and turned off. So, I want y'all to look at the screen real quick. And this square that you have on the screen is supposed to represent the 5x5 lights that you have. Okay. Now, instead of being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the columns are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead, with the microbit, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the rows are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason for that is if you think of a coordinate grid or you think of lines, this is the first line right here. This is the first line right there. So everything before that line is 0. Everything after that line is 1. Now, when you're dealing with programming, 0 means off and 1 means on. So if I want this brick right here, this spot right here, this spot is currently turned off. So a 0 represents that place. So I'm going to take a little box here. I'm going to type in 0. I'm going to make it huge. Okay. So this box is currently turned off. So that represents a 0. Okay. In fact, all of the boxes are turned off. Now, if I want one of these boxes to turn on, like that, the light to turn on, it can't be 0 anymore. In fact, the number then, since we want it to be turned on, now becomes a 1 because we're turning it on. Okay. Now, with brightness, though, 1 means it's just barely on, and 9 is the brightest a light can be. Okay. So for now, we're going to kind of do a little sample program where we are going to we're going to figure out what the program will be, and we'll play with the colors in a second here. So I'm going to make just a random image here. So these red squares represent the red lights on the microbit. And again, I'm just making something completely random. I don't even know what I'm making. Boom, I call this a bob, okay? Now, if we look at the spots here, the squares here, I have off, on, off, on, off. So if I wanted to do that, that'd be 0 would be off, 9 would be on, off, okay? So now I have the first row programmed, and now the second row will be off, on, off, okay? Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? So now we have to do the third row. So the third row would be 0 or off, on, on, okay? Next row would be on, off, and the last row would be off, on, off, okay? So now we have our basic program on how to create this image on our microbit. The zeros represent the lights that are off. The 9s represent the light that's on. We'll get to play with numbers besides 9 in a little bit. So I'm now on the Green Acres website. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's Python for microbit. So I'm going to click that. And this is where we were doing the buttons. Just a quick reminder, anything after the pound sign is just a note. I'm going to do pictures with binary because that is the program that we're going to be doing. And again, I'm just doing that to help organize it for me. I have a microbit this time, so I can actually make sure there's nothing wrong with the program. And from microbit import is the language that we're speaking. So it makes sure that they're speaking the exact same language. And then while true, that's just a place, it just says run this program forever. I'm going to delete everything up to line 5. So if you remember at any point you feel like you're running behind or you're confused, just pause the video, catch up to where we're at, and you will be doing just fine, okay? So I've deleted everything up to line 5. Everything after line 5 has now been deleted. Yes, that's what I meant to say the first time. So while true, now remember, I could do 2 greater than 1 because 2 is always greater than 1. I can do 1 less than 9. And I can do 1 equals, oops, too many equals. 1. So as long as 1 equals 1, I want you to do this, okay? But it's easier just to leave it as true. Now, I'm going to go above line 5. I'm going to go into line 4, and I'm going to hit enter twice. 1, 2. Okay? So now I'm at a new line 5. And again, if you feel like I'm going too fast, pause the video. I want you to be doing this too. I'm not doing this by myself. I want you to be doing it too. So pause the video as many times as you need to. Now, we're going to make this image appear on our microbit, okay? So I'm going to call this image Bob, okay? I'm going to call it Bob. Don't know why. We're going to call it Bob. Now, Bob is going to equal an image, open parentheses, and then I'm going to do quotation marks, okay? Actually, no, I'm going to do an apostrophe, okay? So now I'm going to do my first row. My first row is 0, 9, 0, 9, 0. So 0, 9, 0, 9, 0. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Okay. And then I'm going to do another apostrophe and then a colon. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. Now, when I hit enter, it's going to take me all the way back over here, but I want to be lined up with that other line so it's nice, complete shape. I'm going to do another apostrophe, and then I'm going to do the row. 0, 0, 9, 0, 0. So 0, 0, 9, 0, 0, apostrophe, colon. And when I hit enter again, I might be messing up. We'll find out in a second. Okay, next row. Row 3, 0, 9, 0, 0, 9. So apostrophe, 0, 9, 0, 0, 9. Apostrophe, colon. Okay. Next row, apostrophe. And we have 9, 0, 9, 0, 0. 9, 0, 9, 0, 0, apostrophe, colon. And last row will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 9, 0. So apostrophe, 0, 0, 0, 9, 0. Okay, and that's my last 5 rows. So boom, I have my program. Okay, I'm going to make the image Bob. And in fact, if you look at where the 9s are, you can kind of see the image that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to line 11 where it says while true. I'm going to hit enter, and I want it to display dot show parentheses Bob. Okay, I want it to display what Bob is. Okay, so I'm going to connect my microbit. I'm going to click connect. I'm going to click the microbit, click connect. Boom, there's that smiley face I was telling you about in the last lesson. Now I'm going to click flash. Now I've clicked flash. It's telling me I have a line error. Line 5. Yeah, I think I knew I was going to have that error. I think that is my fault. I'm going to make these quotation marks. And that's the best part of programming, guys. You're going to make some mistakes sometimes. That is perfectly okay. You just got to learn from your mistakes. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Nope, I still have some mistakes. Line 5 still. Okay. Just some fun times, guys. Hey, I made Bob. Okay, so I made 2 mistakes, but my microbit told me what line those mistakes were on, so I knew what to go fix. They need to be quotation marks instead of apostrophes, which was what I said first was quotation marks. And the colon needs to be on the inside. So now If I put my batteries in here, I can unplug it, and I can see there's Bob, okay? And boom, so this image on my microbit matches the image on my computer, okay? So I did that by doing binary, okay? So, yes, I know, I attached the microbit. So now let's do something a little bit more complex, okay? I am going to make a man, okay? So I have his head, his body, let's see, one leg, his other leg, arm, arm, and then arm, arm. Okay, so he's a man who wants a hug. Okay, so now let's think about what our binary is for the first row. It is off, 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 on, off, off. So off, off, on, off, off. Okay. Our second row is completely on. So it'll be 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Our next row is the same as our first run. It's going to be off, off, on, off, off. And our last two rows will be exactly the same. Off, on, off, on, off. Off, on, off, on, off. In fact, if you look at my nines, you can basically see the man, which I guess we're going to call Bob. He's going to be right there. So I'm going to go back to my Python editor, and I'm not going to delete everything. I'm just going to go back and edit what I already have. So I have 0, 0, 9, 0, 0. And then the second row is completely on. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. And then same as the first row, 0, 0, 9, 0, 0. And then 0, 9, 0, 9, 0 for the last two rows. So 0, 9, 0, 9, 0, 0, 9, 0, 9, 0. Okay. Again, if I'm going too fast, pause the video and catch up with me. Okay. So I'm going to connect my microbit because I unplugged it. You shouldn't have to connect it every time if you leave it plugged in. I'm going to flash it. Boom. Okay. So I'm going to unplug my microbit so y'all can see this. The battery fell out. There we go. Okay. So I have Bob. Okay. Bob matches exactly what I have here. Okay. So now what I want to do is Bob has a lot of energy because Bob has been stuck in his house. Bob wants to dance. Okay. So we're going to create a new one. I'm going to go same program. I'm just going to go down to line 11 and I'm going to call it Bob 2. Okay. Bob 2 is going to equal image. And now let's decide what this image is going to look like. Now, Bob is going to do some disco. So Bob's going to have one hand go down, one hand go up, and he's going to kick out with this foot. Okay? So let's go back and see what our numbers are going to be. First row would be off, off, on, off, on. Next row would be off, on, off. Next row would be on, off, off. Oop. And now we have off, on, off. And then the last row is off, on. Okay. So we know what our binary is going to be. So now we're going to go to this tab and we're going to do quotation marks. We're going to do it correctly this time. And the first row is off, on. So off, on. Colon, quotation marks. Enter. Okay. Quotation marks. 0 or off, on, off. off, on, off, colon, quotation marks. Okay. On, off, on, off, off. On, off, off, colon, quotation marks, enter, quotation marks, off, on, off, off. Off, on, off, quotation marks. And the last row is off, on, on. So, off, on, on. Okay? So, I have Bob standing completely normal, is just Bob, and then Bob dancing over there to the side. Now, I'm going to go back down to my program. I'm going to hit enter a couple times so y'all can see. Okay, so I'm on line 18. I'm going to hit enter on line 18, and I want it to sleep for 500 seconds. What that will, or 500 milliseconds. What that will mean is Bob will stand completely still for a half a second. Then he'll dance up. So we need to do display dot show Bob2, close parentheses, and then sleep 500. Okay, so now I have him staying like this, and then going up, and then the program will repeat itself, so we'll go back to standing still. So I am going to connect my microbit because I disconnected it to show you in the camera. I'm going to connect. I'm going to flash it. Oh, I have an error. Oh, I see what my error is. I forgot to put a closed parenthesis right there at the end of Bob2. That's my bad. But my microbit said line 15 error, so I knew that's what I needed to do. So let me click flash again. Hey, okay. So I'm going to disconnect this. I'm going to show you in the camera. I now have Bob dancing. Yes, I'm supplying my own music. Don't worry, it's copyright free. Okay. So now Bob doesn't only have one dance move. Bob is going to flip his dance move. So Bob is now going to go up with this hand and down with this hand. And he's going to kick out with this foot and come in with this foot. So he's basically doing the opposite of his dance move, okay? So let's figure out what's on and what's off. That's on, off, off. And then off, on, off. And then off, on, on. Off, on, off. And on, off, on, off. Okay? So go back to our program. We have Bob1, or just Bob, on line 5. Bob2 on line 11. So guess what we're going to do now? On line 17, I'm going to do Bob3. Okay? And that's going to equal image, open parentheses, quotation mark. And let's look at what our first line is. On, off, off. So on, off, off, colon, quotation marks. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to line it up. And now I'm looking at the second row. Off, on, off. Off, on, off. Okay, quotation marks. Off, on, off, on. Off, on, off, on. Next row. Off, on. Wait. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Off, on, off. Off, on, off. And the last row is on, off, on, off. On, off, off. Nope. Okay, yes, I did that wrong. Off, on, off. Okay. So now I have Bob like this, Bob like this, Bob like this. Okay. So, oops, I almost messed this program up. Colon, quotation marks, close parentheses. And again, if I'm going too fast, pause the video and catch up with me. Trust me, if you're doing this with me now, it's going to save you some time later. Okay? Now, we're down here back at our program on line 27. And okay, I'm going to hit enter. Now, I don't want him to go straight to this. I want him to go back to this first. So I'm going to do display dot show Bob sleep 500, and now display dot show Bob 3. Okay, so now I have him going boom, 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 and I want to sleep 500. Okay, so there's Bob, there's Bob 2, there's Bob 3, and there's my program. So I'm going to connect my microbit. I'm going to flash it. I'm going to make my computer mad. Okay, and here we go. Bob is a dancer, and he has more than just one dance move. Bob can dance back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so your homework or your thing to turn in at the end of this assignment, what I want you to do is I want you to create your own moving image. Okay, so this is called an animation because we have a computer image that turns lights on and off, and the computer images turning lights on and off look like it's actually moving, but nothing on here is actually moving. It's just the lights turning on and off, so it's called an animation. The process of animating or the process of moving. So what I want you to do is I want you to create your own animation, and it cannot be Bob. It cannot be a dancing person. I've seen some really cool programs with this. I've seen them where a ball goes bouncing back and forth on the screen. I've seen a lot of cool things. What I want you to do is I want you to create your own animation. Now, on my shelf over here, there is some graph paper. So graph paper is very helpful when you want to create your own square, like what I did here. So if you ask the substitute or if you ask Miss Weinreber, Miss W, say, may I please have some graph paper from Mr. Gallant's desk? It is right there, and it is available to you. So if you need it, ask for it. And what you will be expected to turn in for me is a screenshot of the image and turn it into Google Classroom, okay? And remember, if you don't know how to turn it into Google Classroom, all you will need to do is go to Classwork and all the way down at the bottom, Computer Shortcuts and Resources. It's right there. Now, for the sixth graders, right here underneath where is it at? I know it's in here. There it is. Programming the microbit. Here is a drop box. If you look at dropping box binary, if you open this up, this is a really cool program. I did this with some of the sixth graders already. You can highlight this whole program. Control C is copy. You can go into your program, hit Control A, Control V. This is the dropping box program. So you can look at this program if you want a kind of an idea of something you can do yourself. Okay, so I'm going to connect it. I'm going to flash it. And what we made is an animation of a box dropping, kind of like in Tetris. Okay, and you can see again, nothing's moving on my screen. The only thing that's happening is lights are turning on and off. So I want you to create your own image, and it can't be the dropping box, as I've already showed you that. It can't be dancing Bob. If you want to do something a little bit different with Bob, maybe, but I want to see something creative. This is not something that I want you just to speed through. If you want your box to go down and then bounce all the way back up, that would be kind of cool to see. But I want to see what your program looks like, okay? So what I want you to do is send me screenshots of your program in Python. So screenshots of this right here, all of it. I want to be able to see all of it. Upload those pictures into Google Classroom under this assignment, and then I will be able to grade your assignment. Okay. Feel free to ask me questions in the comments area if you're confused by anything. If you're saying your program's not working, I will still be available. All you have to do is copy and paste the program into the comments. I might be able to say, hey, you messed up here. Because like I was showing y'all earlier, guys, I was forgetting parentheses and I was forgetting colons, but I had to go back and fix those things. So go through, look at these programs. Now, one thing I wanted to talk to y'all before I changed it, or before I ended this video, is this is back the Bob program. Now, I can change some of these from nines. I can change them to anything I want as long as it's between 1 and 9. So I can go 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 instead of doing 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. I can change this to a 6. I can change this to a 5, this to a 4, this to a 3, that to a 2. Now, because I changed the numbers on those, I've also changed the brightness. Okay, so I'm going to connect, get rid of that box, flash it. And when you do that, you'll see that whenever it goes to Bob, Bob almost disappears, like he got snapped away by Thanos. All of his lights are different colors. That's because if you change the light from nines, if you change the numbers from nines, they will become dimmer. So if you go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the lights get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Okay, so you can play with that in your animations if you want to. So I look forward to seeing what your animations look like. I look forward to seeing the stuff that you're going to create. You will need to finish part 1 and part 2 today. If you're not able to, you'll have to finish them next time you see me, which will be Thursday at the beginning of class before you can start on part 3 and 4. So again, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I really am looking forward to seeing what animations y'all create. I always love programming with the Python. So good luck, and please let me know if you need anything.